You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Podcast Network. Find all of our shows at wearelibertarians.com. We Are Libertarians Plus members enjoy many benefits like exclusive bonus shows like Build the Wall and Ideological Origins, lifetime access to my exclusive private newsletter at chrisspangle.com, early release of episodes with commercial-free shows, and a full feed of the show with 700 more episodes than you can find in the public feed. You'll also get merch and the opportunity to be a guest on the show. Most importantly, Wall Plus members support a new generation of opinion journalists by bringing an independent libertarian perspective to the news. Enjoy these benefits immediately by visiting joinwallplus.com.
How do we take the ideas of liberty and sell them to your average person? Hi, my name is Brian Nichols, sales executive and host of The Brian Nichols Show. And as the director of sales development in the greater telecommunications and cybersecurity sector, I've spent years working with C-level executives to help them future-proof their company's infrastructure for an uncertain future. And at The Brian Nichols Show, I'm taking that industry experience and bringing it to the liberty movement. Each episode of The Brian Nichols Show features conversations with leading voices in their respective fields of expertise, ranging from CEOs to economists, elected officials, professors, and more. And instead of focusing on libertarians being right, we're teaching the basic fundamentals of sales and their application in the world of politics, teaching you how to ask better questions to help change people's minds. So, where can you find the program? Head to briannicholsshow.com or search your favorite podcast app for the program and then hit that subscribe button to get 3 phenomenal episodes that'll make you a better advocate for liberty today.
You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com.
Welcome to the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast. This is episode number 194 of the Centralian's favorite podcast. I'm Jeremiah Morrell. Today I am joined by co-host and producer Zach Burcham.
Busy night, no training wheels.
There is no net, there are no training wheels. I came in, I turned the lights on, I turned the heat on, and I flipped on as many devices as I could, and it said, Zach, good luck.
Yeah, efforting is the word of the night.
Channeling East Centralia's own Kevin Lee with the efforting. And back today is Mark Brim. First time since September, you said.
First time since September. I'm sorry I canceled out on you so much. I'm glad to be here tonight. My wife said, get out of the house.
Thank God you finally got permission.
This time of year, I usually pour some vodka and sparkling water, mix that up, and I'm in my pajamas and in a blanket by 5:22.
I mean, if you had requested it ahead of time, there's a bottle of vodka over there, and we could have gotten some snow. And put it in the cup, add a little water, a little fizzy water to it, and man, you could wear whatever you want. If you wanted to wear you could have made it happen.
Usually
wrapped up in the blanket, and I don't care what clothes
and I
could have.
Wow, and laid down on the couch.
Yeah,
No, this is good to wear clothes in the evening. Yeah, I'm feeling it.
This is like a night on the town.
This is a night in a beautiful town you have here too. I was just telling you when I came in after crossing into your beautiful downtown. If Richmond's downtown, where I came from this evening, where I started my journey to get here, if Richmond's downtown was 1/50th as vibrant and aesthetically pleasing as your town here in Newcastle, I wouldn't even know what to do. I'd never want to leave.
You came in on 38.
Yeah.
Past the Pizza King.
Past the Pizza King.
That's where
I came through.
The fun starts at the first Pizza King.
2 great towns. This town and Hagerstown. I love Hagerstown.
Hagerstown's amazing.
Hagerstown's a great town.
The Greens Fork, you're not a fan.
Let me tell you about Greens Fork.
Mark's very first trip out here, he got himself, I think he wound up leaving Greens Fork in cuffs.
I did. I left Greens Fork. I dared to exit town going up a hill at 42 miles an hour.
Yeah.
But it was still technically 30, but I was so close to the 40 mile. And it was a total BS ticket. But I was mad. I held on to that anger for years. But I've driven through Greens Fork numerous times since then, and I have found the best thing is to just obey the speed limit.
Just do the best you can.
Just do the best I can.
Set the cruise and call it good.
Total BS ticket. Whatever happened to not giving tickets? I was pulled over all the time as a teenager I never went.
You had teenager privilege. Now
and people would in the
now you're just an anti-mask wearing scofflaw.
I think that was a different time back then. That was also when they'd be like, "You're drinking and driving. Just go home and sleep it off." And I think they would. I don't think they do that too much.
I could have done that too. Wow.
Now Will McCarty is in the chat, and now Will, you probably don't know Will, but he's a NASA scientist. He's a weatherman for NASA out in Virginia now.
Wow.
But he points out that Pizza King, yes, but there is no Tom Raper RV here. Will moved away quite some time ago. Do you want to break the bad news about Tom Raper RV to Will?
Yeah, well, I'll break a little bit more than that. So yeah, Tom Raper RV is now Camping World.
That's quite a fall from grace.
Yeah.
If you're in the camping world, if you're in the RV world, Camping World is like a bad word. It's a 4-letter word. They
don't even give away free RVs online like all the other places do. But then the other thing is, I'm tired of hearing about Pizza King. It's like $240 for a 12-inch pizza there. I'm tired, and they cut it into little squares. Woo-hoo. I can do that. And Pizza King is so overrated and ridiculously overpriced. You can go to Domino's and get a good pizza for $12. You can go to Speedway and get a 14-inch pizza for like $5, and it tastes just as good, in my opinion.
You can't go to Domino's in Newcastle, though. At least not right now. We don't have a Domino's.
There's a Domino's coming in.
We're getting a new one.
There's rumor of a hothead burrito and a Domino's. So things are looking up for Newcastle and Henry County.
Wow.
Will McCarty is now ruined. Tom Raper is gone. Yes, it sold. Tom is no longer with us. I think the family.
He was out of the business for.
He got out, and there's still the Memorial Tom Raper Way exit there on I-70.
Which that kind of pisses me off too, because
of course it does.
If you get off I-70. Then, you would pass Tom Raper RVs. And then you go on down further, it turns into Northwest 5th Street. And if you go a little further down, would be a place that's now La Mexicana, home of delicious burritos. But prior to that, it was the world-famous Joe Brim's Garage Incorporated, home of fine automatic transmission rebuilding and power steering specialists. And I just thought it should have been named Joe Brim Way. I think more people liked my grandpa than Tom Raper.
Yeah, well, I think you should probably protest.
I'm not saying anything against Tom Raper. I'm just saying some people are
Mark Brim, Joe Brim Way.
I just think it should be. I mean, why do they hate the working man? I mean, Tom Raper, I'm sure, had like $5 billion.
You know, an interesting fact about Tom Raper, when he had that lot, if there was an RV on the lot, he owned it. Mm-hmm. He held the title to every RV on the lot, unlike a lot of dealerships, which banks hold them. But there's a great Pizza King right there. Claire. You guys have a great Pizza King. There's a bus inside.
It has a bus inside.
And the inside design's a lot nicer than any of our Pizza Kings. A lot of nice woodwork in there.
All right. We are still trying to do introductions. You guys are killing me.
Yeah.
You're killing me.
Hey, I'm in the mood to just take this way off course. We will talk about Diagnosis Murder before the evening's over.
We have a great show planned. We're going to talk about Mark got himself booked because he complained about who's rich and in the rich. So we're going to define rich with Mark. Morgan Wallen, he tried to get himself canceled and his sales actually went up. Tom Brady won the Super Bowl. He melted down the internet yesterday. I was completely enamored with it, and my wife was having none of it. She was done with me. I know that Mark's going to be upset that there's the Pearl Milling Company waffles now instead of Aunt Jemima, and I want to know about Valentine's Day. So that's what we have planned. This show is about our lives in rural Indiana. Here to push your boundaries and make you think as individuals. Sometimes we'll provoke you. Mark's going to do that. Other times we'll make you laugh, but hopefully you will always learn something new. Zachary, you got some thank yous to do, don't you?
Yeah, we're going to thank the Patreon people because it's freezing outside, but it's nice and toasty in here. Thanks to all the Patreon people. But if you contribute more than $50 a month, you get a shout out in every episode. So we got big thanks to Chris Lamb, Christy Avery, and Jonathan Phillips. And just a reminder, and I'll try and post these links up in a minute, the Anthony Meyer GoFundMe is still going. And if you want to contribute to the show, but $50 seems a little steep, you can always do the Patreon at any level and get some access. We just had a fun Patreon portion where we talked about me doing surgery on my phone and then how I do the lazy way of video editing. And this man's a professional. So if you want to get access to that, join the Patreon or hit the T-Chip stores, which I'll post the links in just a minute, unless Andrew Bowman's in there and he wants to show me up again.
Andrew informed us he was going to choose the NASCAR over us. So he's out there watching Eric Almirola beat Joey Logano down at Daytona.
Oh, look at him driving around in circles, just in a line like they're holding hands.
Now, before the race started, I said, hey, I put $1 on Denny Hamlin to win and I'll win $6. And then he 2 laps in, he went last. He's all the way back up to 4th now, so I feel better.
Yeah, well, it's lottery racing. They're Daytona.
It's the greatest.
Looks like the key to this is turning left at the appropriate time.
Turning left
You gotta turn left.
and not hitting anybody.
And picking the right dance partner.
Generally, that's the way it goes.
But we got the T-Chip stores, tchip.com/BHOL1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we have BHOL mug as well. And I'll post the links up in just a minute to that.
Okay. So let's define this term rich. Mark this week.
The moment I put this on, and I don't get into trying to get on Facebook and troll people, make people angry like I used to. I just am a quiet man. I post photos of pretty trucks or old steam engines or whatever. But I did see this. I put it on there within 30 seconds. You had a screenshot of it that you shared with everyone.
I said Mark is writing the show. He doesn't know it, but he's writing the show. And I quote, "My God, if I ever earned so much, $75,000."
This was attached to a link to a story about how people who earned $75,000 or more would not be eligible for
potentially.
The stimulus.
That was the rumor earlier in the week.
Between
a couple making $75,000, they would not be eligible for this
individual, right? And then couples up to $150,000.
That is what they did last time. Yes.
Something
individuals
like
at 75, couples over 150.
Yeah.
We've heard 40, we've heard 80, we've heard that now,
all over the map.
Yeah. So Mark said a guy making $75,000 a year is rich. My God, if I ever earned that much, I'd probably have 16 1980 Chevrolet pickups with 8-foot beds full of Oreos, and I'd dive right in like Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah. Absolutely. So
my contention is that nobody ever thinks they're the rich one, Mark. You could, if you make $45,000 a year, vlogging for the prominent Quaker institution over on the far east side of the state, or $110,000 a year, you never think that you're the rich guy because somebody else is always making more. The rich person never says, I'm rich. I'm good.
But $75,000 a year, that's a major.
That's big money.
That's big money. And if you can't make it on that much where you live, don't live there. Just don't.
I was gonna say, yeah, some of that will come down to where you live.
Yeah, well then don't make it.
There's like Newcastle rich and there's like Carmel rich.
Well, what's the argument? I live in LA. I can't make it here on that kind of money. Well, don't live there. But then, I couldn't get that good of a job somewhere else. Well, it must not be that good of a job because you're not making it. So come to Richmond, Indiana, get a job at Needler's grocery store.
Lee's
Get a job at Lee's Famous Recipe. My God, the best chicken there is. And you can afford a nice apartment. You can live on nothing in Richmond and get by just fine.
But do you want to live in an apartment?
Why not?
And just, I don't know. It sounds.
It's not my problem if someone can't make it on $75,000 a year. Live in an apartment if you have to. $75,000 a year is a lot of money.
So in Mark Brim's world, are there no stimulus checks? The stimulus program is over. We're done. We're done spending.
They should do a better job of making sure that money goes into the hands of the people who need it.
Right.
And not someone who earns $75,000 a year.
But the emergency is so bad that we're just going to give it to everybody. We're just going to.
That kind of makes it pointless then, doesn't it?
I don't know. I like money.
Yeah. I mean, I like getting it, but I'm fine.
I got to think that if you get $1,400 times you plus your wife plus a couple of kids, that's like 3 more square bodies.
That could be. Yeah. I mean, hey, I'll take it, but I'm sure someone needs it more than I do. And I don't earn anywhere near $75,000 a year. And that money itself wouldn't put me anywhere. If I earned $75,000 a year, I would give people $1,400 stimulus checks. I'd just start handing them out.
So you just Santa Mark.
Yeah, just look at me. I'd have so much money. I mean, it's ridiculous. I just think, sure, good. If that is what happens, couples earning $150,000 a year, they don't need $1,400. And if they do, they have made some critical errors and it's not my fault and it's not my responsibility.
Harry Price is in the chat. One of the hosts over on the Big Wall Show. We're Libertarians. He says $75,000. How would I afford my whiskey and cigars? Plus, my car gets 8 miles per gallon. I need premium gas.
Now, this is where I do agree with him. Miles per gallon outweighs miles per gallon. But still, if you can't afford your whiskey and cigars.
If your car doesn't make you giggle, what's the point of owning it?
Yeah. Why own it at all? I mean, you don't want some ugly bubble that gets 40 miles to the gallon. You want style.
So Joe Biden said this week, and if you are a member of the Patreon group, the show notes get dropped in there, and usually there's links. I did the show notes this week, so I made sure there were plenty of links in there and stories about what we're talking about. But the president, Joe Biden, current president Joe Biden, said stimulus checks will not be cut, period, at all, no matter what. And right now, under the House bill that is flowing through the Ways and Means Committee, all spending bills have to start in the House. So the House is going to have control, and then it's going to flow through to the Senate. I put this in really small font that makes me read it up close like I'm an old person. Under the House bill, stimulus checks would not be reduced for single Americans earning up to $75,000, head of household filers making up to $112,000, which, Mark, I guess would be single moms with 3 kids. They're head of household, and married couples with a combined income of up to $150,000. As with previous stimulus checks, they would get the full payment. In this case, $1,400 per payment, $2,800 for couples, plus $1,400 per kid. So, I mean, what's that? $5,600? You a family of 4? I think each family's of 4, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My God, the two of you together would have $10,000.
$10,000.
You could start a go-kart team.
Yeah. Yeah, you buy the nicest square body in Richmond, probably.
You could buy a wonderful square. I wouldn't even go for a Richmond square body. I'd go somewhere to a rust-free state. I'd get, one of those.
You're going to Alabama.
$150,000 a couple.
Sure.
They don't need shit. $150,000. People need to learn how to simplify. You don't need your flat screens and your iPhones, and I should be giving seminars on how to get by comfortably.
So
on very little.
What are people doing wrong? What life changes?
They got their stupid fucking gadgets. People can take their gadgets and go straight to hell. Their Roombas and their wall-mounted TVs where they can speak into their phone and change. Just stop it with all that stuff. Stop it already.
Do you want to? You don't have it. You can't speak into your remote. How do you live, Mark Brim? This costs like $30, and I can talk to it.
I've got kids. I can't even find my remote. I have to use my phone as my remote.
I don't. Any investment in my house is quality nutrition for my young children.
Right.
Yeah.
They eat 93% lean beef.
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But the gadgets. Everyone has these gadgets. But
do you think the gadgets are that big of a part of the world? I buy the gadgets, but I buy the cheap ones, right? I've got a Chromecast in every room in my house, but TVs cost like $32. Zach's bought 3 in the last 7 months.
Yeah,
the TVs are cheap.
Yeah, but I mean, you guys aren't saying I really need that stimulus check because I'm not getting.
Well,
you can buy. Okay, you do okay for yourself. You're a pretty big deal.
I won't turn it down.
Yeah.
But
see, I'm not going to turn it down. I'm just saying, who are these people that say, why do they need it? They're employed.
They promised it to you. That's how Joe Biden bought the Senate. He said, if you vote for me and you vote for the Democrats in Georgia in the special election, you're like those guys, you're going to get your full $1,400.
I just think they need to do more to make sure that money goes into the hands of the people who need it, because there are people suffering right now. And they want to say they're suffering because of the pandemic. They're suffering because the government has shut down business after business and has caused a lot of trouble for people to get by.
Now, Harry Price says he needs a 4K in his garage so he can watch YouTube videos so that he can work on his 1.3 liter rotary crew.
I really think that, so far he has mentioned nothing that I'm against, and I hope, if I were to earn $75,000 a year, I would give him at least 2 stimulus payments.
If he's running a rotary, he's going to need the stimulus just to keep the rotary running.
He needs that. That should be a dependent, really.
Harry thinks you're a simpleton that touches his own remote control.
I do.
Now you seem like the kind of guy that would have his 5-year-old go up and punch it. I want to watch Fox, so you'd go up and say punch it 5, 9, and then come back here, child.
I have an old TV, and there is no remote to that works, but I do have a Roku thing, so I have to turn on anything with the TV. I have to touch the TV myself.
It's 1989 at your house.
But then after that, I can use that Roku thing to.
You remind me of my grandfather, who was also a Richmond resident, but he lived through the Depression.
Yeah.
Mark took the 2008 downfall harder than anybody.
I took it
very hard. He treated it like the 1929 crash. Like it's every day's what a Black Tuesday at Mark's house.
Oh, it is totally.
But I mean, like my grandfather lived so frugally that people would give him free stuff all the time. Like they'd stop and give him a ride. He didn't drive. I never saw him drive.
What other tips do you have for people, Mark?
Yeah.
You said you're going to teach a seminar. We are holding you to this now. You're the video guy. We're going to have you. We're going to sell tickets to the Mark Brim a fiscally frugal seminar. What kinds of things do people need to be doing different other than the devices? You
need to break everything down to its most simple and common denominator, like refrigerators.
Right.
Yeah, refrigerators are freaking crazy.
I have
a refrigerator is a white rectangle.
I have 2 refrigerators in my house. One came with the house, and the other one cost me $200 used.
There you go.
Is that the way Mark Brim would do it?
That is the way I would do it.
Right.
Yes. If you can find it cheap, or if you have to get something new, basic.
Right.
Yeah.
Entry level.
Crank
windows, baby.
I've never owned a car with automatic windows. I've always had crank windows.
Did you see the story this week on the Teslas in the cold, where the windows won't go down and they can't latch the doors? The doors shut and they won't close. They just pop.
But have you ever really seen a Tesla up close? It's a pretty cheap looking car. It looks good from 10 feet away, but it's a pretty flimsy looking car.
They're not known for their build quality.
Yeah, they're not.
Some of them were like, one of them was like the factory started like a tent. They hadn't built the building yet. Yeah, they have problems. The roof's been blown off of them. Some of them, the roof panel's glued down, and you'll just be driving on the road and your roof will just fly off. Yeah.
Good Lord.
Harry says that a good refrigerator will tell you recipes.
No. You've lost me.
He said he'll tell you about the weather. They've got fridges that'll tell you, hey, you need milk.
No, absolutely not.
Because I have a device in my kitchen that I think I paid $57 for, and it's connected to the internet. And I say, okay, Google, add milk to my shopping list. And then milk go. Well, 90% of the time, it's actually trying to pick it up on my phone right now. 90% of the time, it says, I don't know who the hell you are. Please verify your voice.
And what else is Google listening to you?
Well, right now it's listening.
And see,
but it's a good trade because then what happens is that my wife looks at the list on her phone. By the way, Sarah, if you're watching, we do need coffee filters. We're down to our last one for the bun.
Nope. Simplify. Get.
Are you a French press guy?
Percolator.
The Speedway.
Percolator. Then you don't need filters.
This is Mark. When I get up in the morning, it takes me 32 minutes to get out of bed to get in my car to leave, and that includes going downstairs to start the coffee pot. If I was doing a percolator, I'd have to get up at like 2.5
It's no different than the coffee pot. I mean, it's no different than anything else. I just, the percolator, you plug it in. I mean, you put the coffee grounds in.
I know, but the bun, I put the thing in and I pour the coffee in, and I've got coffee in 2 minutes. And the water's hot in the back of it.
Extra few minutes, percolator, you don't need coffee filters or anything. And then you take your coffee grounds after that, and you put them in your compost for your garden in the summer. I mean, yeah.
I want to go hang out at Mark's house because it feels like my grandparents' house in like 1989.
Can we do a live remote from your house?
Oh,
you can do a live remote from my house. Here's what I have on my refrigerator. This is pretty cool. It's a piece of paper, and there's a magnet that holds that piece of paper to the refrigerator. And then I write if there's something that we need. I write it on.
We need yogurt.
Yeah.
What if your fridge is stainless steel and it doesn't stick to that?
No. It's got to be a white box. If it's stainless steel, get rid of it.
We talked a little bit about GoPros before. I need to just strap a GoPro to Mark and just have it run all day.
Just put it
like those doggy cams.
It'd be even better to put it on Mark's Labrador and just watch the dog observe Mark from a distance.
Like, you just put it on his head so you can see him. Like Mark starts doing something, you see the dog's head just turn. Like, what is he doing? Yeah. Mine will even, I have the same kind of box that he has in my kitchen, and it recognizes my kid's voice. My kids will go in there and ask it just the most immature questions. I'm like, just ignore it, guys. Just ignore my children. Yeah. Gadgets, that's part of it. And then I think for some people, it's never enough. You give them how much money you're going to give them, and then they just spend that much more. On everything.
The shirt you're wearing, Mark, is that left over from Joe Brim's garage? That looks like an auto mechanic shirt.
It is. This came from the treasure chest. I don't buy. Oh, that's the other thing. No new clothes ever. All thrift store.
Right.
I bought this from the treasure chest, located on Main Street, finer downtown Garrettson, South Dakota, for $1.97.
Well, nobody's got the money to go flying off to South Dakota to buy their cheap clothes.
Can we break that down by fuel cost too?
I mean,
or any thrift store near where I did not go there. By the time you add in
the lodging
and
the
true.
fuel to get
You're
there, that's a $700 shirt.
It is.
That is designer.
there happens to be more thrift stores around than just that. But yeah, if you get the chance to go to a thrift store in South Dakota, thrift stores in general, around here, Valley Thrift in Dayton, that is your best deal on clothes.
Don't you know how to recommend Indiana? Indiana needs sales tax money, and you're saying go to South Dakota or go to Ohio.
I find that Ohio is a lot better than Indiana in many ways. It just so happens. It seems like if I were to go to a city, I usually go to Dayton or Cincy.
Indianapolis is so far from you. I truly think because you live in Richmond, you get Richmond TV, and your brain gets programmed that you just look. You look east. You look at Dayton.
Eastward.
Your head goes. Goes over there. Yeah. Whereas here in Newcastle, only being 20 miles away from you, we're Indianapolis centric because that's where our media
you are
is.
more Hoosier here.
Yes.
Yeah, and all our trains come your way too.
Well, half of them.
True.
You can watch.
They fall off into the ocean in California. It's just there's a shit ton of trains getting built in Delaware.
They just keep going right into
They just crank them out over there, and then they fall in at San Francisco.
That's why they keep making more of them. Yeah.
I never know what I'm going to get with Mark.
Yeah. You get to watch Indy 500 live though, don't you?
I have never seen the Indy 500.
You get to watch it live.
Mark, will you be my guest this year to the Indianapolis 500?
Oh, I want to see Mark at the 500.
Sarah will sit in the parking lot, and you and I will just watch the first 5 laps, and then we'll let Sarah come up to the seats.
Would I have to get a vaccine before I go? Can you just walk in?
I don't. I went to an event last year at the race, and nobody checked me for my papers.
Wow, you can just walk right in.
I had to wear a mask.
I went to the time trials in 2008.
Scott Dixon won.
Yeah. Was that? I don't know. I went there with my cousin. That was like his bachelor party. And I don't even know what I watched. I just, from where I was sitting,
you need to be in like a set of like jorts, some jeans cut off, a tank top, and a Star Spangled Banner headband, and you'll fit right in.
Scott Dixon was the pole winner, too. He won the race and the pole in 2008.
He had a good year in 2008.
He did it all. Very well done.
I couldn't get into it.
All right. So what's the number? Yeah. What is the number? We'll put a pin in this topic here, Mark, and with Zach as well, because he's been let off the hook. How much money is the cutoff to? You don't get the $1,400 if you make over. How much is a couple?
As a couple. Is it if you make over 90,000? So 45. I'd say. I'll be very liberal on this. I'll say 70,000 as a couple. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That would be my cutoff. 70,000 as a couple, 35,000 each. If you can't make it on that, then tough luck. I'm sorry. Not to say there are people who don't have extenuating circumstances regardless of their income, and there are ways and avenues to get help within that. But assuming you're working, assuming that everything's going okay, assuming you don't have 26 kids, if we're going on the law of averages, which they are when they just hand the money out to everyone, I would say $70,000. A couple. If you earn less than that, then you get the stimulus.
See, I think I'll let Mark say or Zach say his thing, but I got a caveat to that I think that you're not noticing or you're not seeing.
Let's see.
But I want to let Zach answer before I throw my monkey wrench in.
I would probably go 100,000. If I was going to drop it, because they mentioned dropping it to 50, 75,000 would be right. The thing I would throw in, I think we mentioned this before, is I would run that off somebody's 2020 taxes, not their 2019 taxes, because there might have been some people that made bank in 2019 and didn't do so well in 2020.
I'll give you that. Yeah.
So they need to adjust it for that. But yeah, I could 80 to 100,000, I think, for a family. Then you get into like how many kids you have and kind of what the situation is. But yeah,
I think the goal of this was to get money in people's hands, and we weren't going to be that damn careful. Right? It was, we're going to be fair. We're going to treat people right.
But they shut down every small business, so all you could do is sit at home and plug away on Amazon.
Right.
Further hurting the small businesses that they were already hurting.
Yeah. But the problem is that unless you have a decision of, okay, well, the cost of living in rural Indiana is bucket A, and the cost of living in Northern Virginia is bucket D. And
they should adjust it to region, but then you get into slippery slope there too. Yeah.
So because this has to originate in the House of Representatives because it's a spending bill, Nancy Pelosi is the Speaker of the House, so she's incredibly powerful when it comes to that, and she is from San Francisco, California. So her constituents, if they're making, none of her constituents are going to get any money. That's what I'm saying. If you go to your number and you go 75,000, she's going to say, hell no, none of my people are going to get this, and I suck.
Yeah.
But if you go to 150, some of her people have a shot at it.
Some of them will get it. Yeah.
That's why I think
That's why they're aiming high. I say aim low.
Right.
And even then, I would even be more tempted to say even 60,000. But yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think they're going to pass it. I think it's going to go through. The price tag right now is $1.9 bajillion. I think that they should sever it from different programs and not try to pass this whole thing as once. I think more than the, hey, you're going to get $1,400, but you're not, the bigger conversation is the minimum wage and shoving that through and changing the minimum wage as a part of this. I think that shouldn't be a part of the same conversation, but yeah, whatever. I'm not in Congress. I voted for Tom Firkinoff. None of this is my fault.
I voted Firkinoff too.
There we go.
Yeah. But then the other problem is with the minimum
and of course,
wage
Zach
thing.
voted for Jeannie Lee Lake.
Yeah, I think it did.
I like her. I mean, I don't know.
She's lovely. She's been here twice. She's a great lady.
I don't agree. Well, with anyone, Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, I'm not 100% on all their politics, but she is approachable. She gets out there. She's hitting the pavement, and I'm rooting for her. I mean, this time I went Libertarian. I think I did vote for her last time. I went pretty heavy Libertarian just because the pandemic has thrown me more into my Libertarianism. But I also really, really want her. She really deserves to get a better shot than she's getting because she's actually campaigning compared to the puppet that all the other people.
The former vice president's brother.
Yes.
All right. Let's talk about now. Mark is also a former country and Western DJ.
God, it's been 15 years now.
Every April, here in about 46 days, Mark is going to get rehired by Kix 96.
And
the Puka Shell Network necklace is going to come back in the white T-shirt.
The white T-shirt.
And Mark is going to make his grand comeback at 96.1.
Yeah.
Spinning the hits with Brooks and Dunn and Alan Jackson and Montgomery Gentry. That might be a little too new.
They actually have. I hate to give them this credit, but they have, because I work for their competitor now, loosely, but they have a repeater station now called, I can't remember what it's called, 95.3, and it's all classic country.
Is it?
Yeah. I don't know if you can pick it up this far.
This far
away, because it's just a little repeater station, 95.3. I don't even remember what it's called.
It's like a 400-watt station.
Yeah, but it's all 90s and before, and it's just great.
I was going to say we were kind of talking about the define classic country, but so before it got overrun by pop.
Yeah, and there's a lot of 90s. It goes 90s and back, and it's really awesome. And they really, I mean, they cater to. They have the bumpers in between songs. It's like, if your favorite colors are red, white, and blue, then you're one of us. And that really is.
So
I can't remember the name of it though, but it's 95.3 FM in Richmond.
So there's a guy named Morgan Wallen. If you look at the music charts now,
I've heard about this guy.
He's like he's the top one or two guys. Mm-hmm. He and Luke Combs have got everything that's dominating the charts right now.
Never heard of Luke Combs.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? All right. Well, actually, no BS. I think you actually would like Luke Combs. He's one of, you and I share a country music soul. We like the same stuff, and Luke is actually one of us. So I do encourage you to check out some Luke Combs.
Bloop him on the YouTube.
Yeah, look him up on the YouTube or whatever. He's actually quite good, and he's got my build and dresses like me. So he's just like me, about 10, 15 years younger. But Morgan Wallen, he keeps stepping in it, and he's I don't know how old is Morgan Wallen? Zach, do you have any idea?
You know what? I never even heard of Morgan Wallen until this all hit the fan.
So he's I think he's from Alabama. Let's check. He's 27, Sneedville, Tennessee. So he's just a Southern guy. He's from the SEC country. He's on Republic Records, and he was on one of those TV shows. Mark, he was on The Voice.
The Voice
Got discovered on The Voice, which I didn't know. I just know his music is out there. He got in trouble at the beginning of the pandemic for getting seen in a bar without a mask on. and he had to apologize. And he was supposed to be the musical guest on Saturday Night Live, or maybe he's going to host Saturday Night Live.
How's he supposed to drink in the bar without a mask on? Or with a mask on?
He was in there being irresponsible. Even
As
though
some people would say.
the bar was probably okay to be in.
Mm-hmm.
So the cancel culture kind of came after him. Once again, he's been at the top of the music charts for like 3 years, 2 or 3 years now on country. Made his I'm Sorry tour, finally got back on SNL, made fun of himself, told some jokes, said I'm a dumb idiot. It was all okay, all was forgiven. Last week, he was drunk again, just doing stuff 27-year-olds do. And he said what they call a racial slur. I think it was the one that starts the same one that got
Michael Richards?
No, man.
yes,
Yeah.
that word as well. But
I'm going back on that
Kyle
one.
Larson in
the
trouble.
Kyle Larson word as well. Yes,
He
It's
said
the-
that word.
It's the big one.
The big one.
The big one. Yeah.
Oh, you can't do that.
No.
Yeah.
No. So he did it. One of those, and same as Kyle Larson did to his friend. Hey, and said that word, and then he got pulled off of every radio station, every TV, VMA, whatever the heck, the CMT. If they play music, they pulled him out of the streaming. So he got canceled everywhere.
That's not surprising. The mask thing surprised me. I hadn't heard that, but yeah, that's not surprising. I mean, no matter how good natured you are, there's no good way. That's a career ender.
It's the
right
big
there.
one.
Yeah.
What did happen this week, though, and this is the question I want to ask, is cancel culture is just easy. We're done. It's over. You're out. And this has been about the last 18 months. We're just so mad as a society. We'd cut you off at the knees. You're out.
But except all the sex offenders, they caught them in 2017. There's no more. And they got them all.
So Morgan Wallen, he got pulled, but he actually sold more records this week than he ever had. So the question I have is this guy just like Teflon, or is it we're tired of being woke, we're tired of cancel culture, and the hell with you, we're going to do what we want to do anyway? Are we at that point? And when I framed this and when I thought of this, I said, okay, maybe we finally moved past this. And then somebody on The Mandalorian got fired for doing something else this week too. I said, well, I guess we're not through the cancel culture. Maybe Morgan Wallen's just going to be Johnny Cash, where no matter what you do, you're just loved.
Well, it sounds like he was fired in essence of being pulled from radio stations, but
Right.
people are privately purchasing
People are
his,
still supporting
they're
him.
still supporting him. Why they are supporting him would be my question.
The music's good.
If it's good music.
It's good music. He does fine work, and I just feel like maybe we're just at the point where we don't expect to show anybody grace ever. That the cancel culture thing, I think, has gotten so far over to the no matter what, we're going to cut you off the knees, and we act like none of us have ever stepped in it.
Yeah. Some people tried to defend his use of the word, saying he was using it at somebody. I'm kind of with you. It just shouldn't be in your vocabulary. Canceling everything. I don't know. He issued an apology, and I saw he said, "Don't defend what I said. Don't say that it was okay. It wasn't okay." That's probably his publicist talking.
He finally said he was on a bender.
But he's a 27-year-old who has all the money for beer and whatever else he's drinking.
The thing is, whether it's cancel culture or not, it doesn't matter. You can't pull the. I mean, we saw that with Roseanne. You can't pull the. I was under.
You can't get it
anything.
back, right?
You can't get it back at all.
In his 5-minute video, he said that I was on hour 72 of a 72-hour bender, and further apologizing for his actions.
But what is the context? So what?
He was like in his yard, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was.
Drunk guy stumbling around yelling, I think.
And so he just happened to yell.
I didn't see. I haven't watched it to see what it would just sound like he was just spouting off.
Drunk guy running his mouth in his yard. That's the scenario the picture with me, and I'm just like, I'm of the opinion of, well, this is just an idiot, right? He's not that he has to be canceled, just that I know
it's an idiotic thing to do.
These are it is what it is. I don't know what you expected. You gave. We'll assume he's probably rich now, Mark. He probably makes $150,000 a year, and he's got all the money for beer and booze and do what he wants.
Well, somebody's saying they caught him because I was going to say, who's videoing this guy? And Travis Ham says he got caught on his neighbor's Ring camera. There's another argument for Mark against gadgets.
Yeah.
Cameras in your doorbells.
Cameras in the doorbells.
So, okay, so you yell a word in the privacy of your backyard, but the security camera from somebody else picked you up.
What's interesting is, so
He didn't
is
say
this
it-
a change?
he
So
didn't
this is
say
a
it during
country
the show.
singer, and people, of course, want to stereotype, oh, well, he's just bringing out the racists who want to support his racist dialogue.
Sure.
2006, Michael Richards goes off
Right.
violently at a person in an audience at a
In
comedy
a show.
saying, I mean, off the deep end, not drunk, just pushed off the deep end by a heckler. I feel like society forgave him pretty quickly because they like Seinfeld.
Right.
Travis just
Would
said,
that happen now? Or would he be done for? Or were people more quickly to forgive him because he was part of something so well liked?
So loved.
Yeah. Because you don't want to
I mean,
just,
we haven't
you don't want to
forgiven-
say, I'm not going to watch Seinfeld
We
anymore.
haven't
because
forgiven Bill Cosby.
Well,
incarceration tends to slow down the bounce back. But I think it's Travis
I mean,
said
you're saying he's so well loved. He was as loved as anybody.
but what came out with him,
Right. Yeah. It's obviously. It's,
criminal.
But I mean, there are people that will say that, using this word is also as it's a cut your hands off. You're done. You say that, you're dead to me.
and then a few years after that, Michael Richards was on the Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yep.
And they were basically making fun of that very thing.
Right.
Which is neither here nor there. It's entertainment, and that's what they
Now-
were doing. And
Now, you named your kid Kramer, so is
And
this
I
because
named my kid-
you have rose-colored glasses for this? You're a sympathizer. You're a Kramer sympathizer.
I mean, isn't the one thing that happens though? Because somebody's mentioned he's already back on Apple Music and stuff. Is that there's the initial knee-jerk reaction. People get mad. Some people get defensive, and then slowly but surely, if the person's got any credibility and can be aware of the situation, they eventually maybe never get back to where they were, but they claw their way back to some semblance of where they were before, which seems like it's.
If you put in the work, you can get back.
Yeah.
I think that's the story that we're seeing, and that's where right now we're watching the NASCAR race on TV, and Kyle Larson. They appear to have wrecked one of the Ryan Preece's car is trashed. I'm guessing, but I pulled Ryan Preece's name out of my butt. By the way, that is a victory.
Another
of mine.
another person I've never heard of before.
Yeah, it's the Cottonelle Chevrolet, I believe, which is very wealthy in the pandemic.
Wiped out.
They have racing money. But Kyle Larson is racing today in a Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet in the 5-car, the original OG top-of-the-line Hendrick car from back in the day.
Yeah.
That it all started with All-Star Motorsports and Jeff Bodine. And he raced a lower series for 6 months, and now he's back in equipment better than he had last year. So if you put in the work, maybe you can come back.
Yeah, if the context.
country music is quick to silence people off the air anyway. I mean, Dixie Chicks after the
Bush,
the Bush thing, boom, they were off the
Boy,
air.
doesn't that feel like nothing now.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
2002. They were just moderately anti-war for 5 minutes.
there was a song. I'm trying to think now. I worked in the radio.
I
there was
guess
a
Eric
song.
Almirola won. Nobody wrecked. It's just the race is over.
It was called 19 something. Do you remember that? It was 1980 something.
Yeah, Mark Willis?
Yeah, something like that. A line in that song was referencing the Challenger explosion, and
Mark
it said,
Willis.
it said space shuttle fell out of the sky and the whole world cried. When the Columbia disaster happened in 2003, they took that song off the country stations across the country. Took that song off the air because it mentioned space shuttle falling out of the sky.
Really?
Yeah. So I just mean country music is, at least contemporary country music, is pretty sensitive to that kind of thing. If the guy has true talent and truly is not an awful person, he'll come back. But I in no way agree with cancel culture. On the other hand, if you are a celebrity of any kind, there's just things you don't say.
And I think that's part of me, I guess, yes, the word's bad. Yes, the whole thing. I have empathy maybe towards the newer stars that have just all of a sudden you're the lights and camera on. They're not as well trained as you and I are, Mark, of all of these reps in front of the big lights.
True.
Where we know not to say certain things.
And yeah, we also went through that age.
Right. I'm not 27.
Yeah.
Right. Without,
and we didn't become famous.
Right. At 27, though, man,
you put a camera on me.
I was a really good guy, but I probably did stuff at 27 that would get me in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
Too.
If you put a camera on me from whenever you start getting out there and active on your own and independent, 16 onward,
Right.
between 16 and just 23.
Imagine the stuff that you could get in trouble with if all of your neighbors had cameras in their doorbells when you were a kid.
Yeah, in your own backyard.
In your own, I mean, just the stuff that you would see going on in your street.
I'm more inclined to have grace and empathy, I guess, towards giving people a second or a third or a fourth chance because you're still figuring out life.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody's got really good and they screw up pretty bad, they need to feel something, and they're going to feel something. And a lot of people just, well, this is our freedom of speech. And I'm like, well, they got fired. They're getting fired from an employer. Should they just repeatedly be kicked while they're down? No, but they need to show if they take the steps and say what needs to be said and do what needs to be done, and they can get back. Then that's kind of America in a nutshell. But for people, there's a thing between the knee jerk and the cancel culture, and then acting like somebody can do something, and everybody should be like, well, remember I watched Bob Time. He's a good kid. He's a good kid, and just write it off. There's a certain point where you do that, and then the person just turns into a monster. If you
Bobby Bowden, he's a good kid.
He's a good kid, and he's
a good linebacker. He'll be all right.
But yet, people need to be held accountable at some level. Otherwise, they'll turn into a monster. Like, who knows what they're capable of if you just let them do whatever they want and go off however they want. So,
I would say the thing that that I was unaware of that would. Obviously this, you just got to know. I mean, and I've been rip-roaring drunk, and you could put every camera on me in the world, and I said some silly stuff, but never was like, oh, I'm so drunk, I became racist. Sorry. That never happened.
But you grew up in Richmond.
That's true. We are a bit elevated in Richmond.
Tennessee.
That's true, but still, this is 2021. But the thing with the bar,
I'm just saying,
you're in a bar.
Right.
Well,
you're going to take the mask off if you're in a bar to drink.
The issue with the bar was he was going to be on Saturday Night Live, and they said, please quarantine before you're on the show. Please self-quarantine. And then it shows up, and he's partying at a bar like the weekend he's going to be on Saturday Night Live.
May of 2020, he was also kicked out of a bar in Nashville and arrested. He's had a string of being...
And that's what some people like to forget. And that's, I guess, I haven't looked into it, all this stuff. I like The Mandalorian, the character who just got canceled from Star Wars universe. I thought her character was cool. I thought she was an interesting character in that. And a lot of people are looking at the tweet that got her in trouble, where she kind of compared the political climate today to Nazi Germany, which is just getting old on every side. Apparently that wasn't her first strike. There's a history of stuff, and some people are aware of that. And so that's something that needs to be, somebody said, well, he just did this in his front yard. Well, he's done this, and he's done this, and people are just get tired of it.
And snowballs. Well, from a career perspective, too. If you're going to be on Saturday Night Live, they tell you this simple request, and you can't follow that, then yeah, I mean, you do deserve whatever comes your way in terms of that.
He basically got caught when he should have been quarantining to do the big SNL show back in the fall of last year or summer of last year. He was going to be one of the first people back on, and he didn't quarantine, and he was in a bunch of TikTok videos and just hanging out with people in the bar like, life is normal. I will say,
and I'm okay with that. Hang out in the bar, have fun. People should assume their own risks. But yeah, if the understanding was I'm going to be on TV on a very popular show live, and they gave me the simple request, then for the sake of my career, then yeah, I mean, it sounds like this guy's just kind of a knucklehead. And he's 27.
Right.
Which I don't know. Yes and no. If he were 19, I'd give him a little more clearance. But 27, I mean, we're not that far from 27. And when I was 27, I wasn't necessarily a knucklehead.
I mean, 27 what are you, and filthy 46? Rich.
We're the same age, right?
Yeah, I think you're 1 year older than me.
Oh.
You're born in 82, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm an 83 model.
I'm sort of 83.
What's that mean?
I was born in late November.
Well, I mean, you were popped out right as I was.
But we're both. We both are currently 38.
No, I'm 37.
Oh,
I'm 38.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
I'm the baby. I feel so young and
You're
vibrant.
so young and vibrant.
I'm only on 3 Motrin a day, not 4. So it's 4, not 5. Unless I have to take 2, then maybe it's 8.
You both have hair, so that's nice.
I do. Well, it's better from the front. From up above, it doesn't look good. But it is what it is. But I can't grow a beard like you two. So yeah. Tom Brady won another Super Bowl.
So he's a football player.
He's a football player.
Oh.
He played at the University of Michigan. Graduated in about the time you and I were getting out of high school, and he's been in his career as long as we have. He went to New England and won 6, and he won his 7th in Tampa Bay. But he partied hard, Mark.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've only heard the name. I know nothing about this guy. I guess he's good at football.
Yes. It appears that he's
most
the best.
fascinating game with a pig skin.
Are you aware of the trophy?
No.
The Lombardi Trophy?
Nah, I don't know anything about sports.
So it's a stainless, or it's a silver trophy. They make a new one every year, not like the Stanley Cup or the
Borg Warner
Trophy where everybody gets their stuff put on it. They make a new one for you every year, and the team gets it. And it's a big football on top with this little pylon thing that it sits on. And it's very iconic. Tom, they did their celebration. Normally there's a parade in the town and they have, floats and everybody celebrates ticker tape or whatever. I assume because of the pandemic, they did it by boat. So everybody was on boats, just partying in Tampa, going down Channel Side or whatever. Big channel, the thing going up near the sports arenas and the zoo and whatever, the Tampa Aquarium. It's been a while. I haven't been there in a few years, but Ybor City, Cubans that make cigars and that kind of thing. So party atmosphere. Tom Brady is on one boat, and about 15, 20 feet ahead is the next boat. And he takes the brand new trophy and he underhand tosses it from one boat to the other.
Nice.
Heaves it.
This is when?
This yesterday.
Oh, really?
He won the Super Bowl Sunday.
This was yesterday.
And yesterday. Yes.
Holy,
so
that's a boss move.
Yeah, and it does the tumble thing, and it gets caught perfectly, and everybody laughs. His teammate, Rob Gronkowski, the tight end, the guy was also a bit of a partier. He won a couple of Super Bowls with Tom in New England, and then he unretired and came down to Tampa with Tom Brady. He was playing baseball with the Super Bowl trophy 2 years ago in New England, and he used it as a bat, and he dented it. And he said he's never been allowed. This is what he was saying in the
Brad Burr read your mind.
He said he's never been allowed. Oh, I'm looking over. Yes,
better than back in New England when Gronk used it as a baseball bat.
He's never been allowed to hold a trophy since. And then we see, and that was on the pregame. They were talking about this, and now Tom Brady's throwing it across the lake.
What can they do to him? Because he's retired now, right?
No, he's still. I mean, he'll come back if he wants to.
Oh.
I think it's great. Like the dented trophy will always have the story. New England has 6 of these things. One of them dented. Why is it dented? That goes to
Gronk,
the lore.
Yeah,
It's the same thing. This is the second trophy for Tampa Bay. They won one in 2002 with Brad Johnson and all those people. But and with John Gruden and Kenny Dilger, the former Indianapolis Colt, and I think Mike Allstott was on the team too. Purdue Boiler up. But it's great. This is the trophy that Tom Brady threw. I think it's awesome.
And people get mad about this? Like it's some sacred thing?
There were a lot of eyeballs that went, oh my God. And then about an hour later, because this is all happening, we're in the instant media era. So the link that I provided is the running blog of TMZ as they're reporting on everybody doing this. There were like 5 angles of the Tom Brady thing too, because the first one I sent over when I sent it to the group chat,
Mark, there was like a clang, and you couldn't tell if it got caught
or not.
And I was like, oh. I could just see it hitting the back of a boat and just hope. I'm like, I hope it floats. Is the first thought.
But there were multiple angles that came out, and it was great. But then about 2 hours later, you see where the party has ended, and Tom's coming off the docks, Mark, and he can't walk. He's
drunk.
He's
having a great time
being helped off the.
And this is common for him.
Nobody's ever seen this behavior. He's won. This is the biggest. He's just won his 7th Super Bowl. He's partying with his friends. I think it's great. He's doing adult things. He's happy.
He didn't become racist.
He didn't. As far as I know, he hasn't been canceled.
Good.
And he took it all in jest. He shared the video on Twitter and he said, "Ha it's all great." Just talked about the tequila
he made a comment about it being avocado tequila because I have a hunch he's a lightweight because. I think he's vegetarian, if not vegan, and he posts up what he eats I don't think he's vegetarian because he eats chicken, I think. But his diet is crazy. He is very particular about what he eats. So I have a hunch he hasn't drank all season and then did all of the drinking yesterday.
To be on top of
It'd
the
be
game.
like me getting Zach for a weekend.
Oh,
and
yeah,
just tearing him up.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't drink?
No.
Yeah, I remember that.
I'd end up like Morgan Wallen on a 72-hour bender. And it was, and you add in that he was like, New England just said, we don't really need you back anymore after everything he did for him. And then, so he's on the verge of retirement. He's like 44 or
43, yeah.
43.
Wow.
Goes down.
That's pretty old, right?
And then, his former team, for a quarterback, that's, pretty old. His former team doesn't make the playoffs, and now he just won a Super Bowl.
And people are mad about this, or it's just
it's more of a,
he's one of those guys.
Oh my God. It's groundbreaking and just, wow.
Let him have his fun. He deserves it.
People have had a lot of fun saying, if you look at what he was in when he won his last Super Bowl in Tampa, he was family man with the kids and everything else, and now he's Florida man. He's gone full Tampa.
I think
party.
his kids were with him when he tossed the trophy. They were standing next to him on the boat when he tossed it.
His daughter's standing there going, Dad, don't. Watch this.
How old are his kids?
I don't know, 10.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing, too, is, it's not like he's went off the deep end. It's that his kids are old enough that he doesn't have to be, they're a little more self-sufficient. And so you can let loose and have a little
honestly,
more fun.
he probably could play long enough to play alongside his son.
Mm-hmm. At this rate,
he could get to 50.
I think and you can't tell if tweets are real or not, but he joked about, I'm just going to play till I get 12. And just at this point, he just kind of knows. He's a guy who's fun to hate, especially when he was New England and Indiana. He's not well liked because he was in New England. He was kind of our arch nemesis for a while. And he's just like,
he plays the Sim Sadie Shong. He completely plays into it now. He wants to be full heel.
Yeah. He knows who he is, but he also just became kind of unquestionably the greatest quarterback to play the game.
He's got more trophies, more Super Bowl wins than any team. He's won 6 with one team and one with the 7th. Wow. He's now got more than anybody else ever did. Very impressive. So it's great for him. I'm glad he's having fun, and I'm glad he's making himself likable. And he's outside of the New England bubble, so it's a little bit more acceptable. And I won $38, so it was.
Well, yeah.
I won money on the game, so hey, we're all good. All right, moving on. If you're a patron, you've got the show notes. We got 2 more topics to discuss here. Mark, do you have a preferred waffle brand? Do you care? In your lifestyle tips earlier, you said stop spending so damn much money.
Yeah.
So you're probably telling us to buy the store brand Aldi waffles anyway.
My wife makes the waffles.
From scratch?
From scratch, yeah. The store-bought stuff, no, that's crap.
No.
She's
not even...
Put your heart and soul
We're
into
not
it.
talking about Eggos where you put them in the toaster. We're talking about what used to be called Aunt Jemima is now the Pearl Milling Company.
I've seen this action on Facebook. People are pretty mad. I didn't realize how many people really needed their Aunt Jemima.
Are people worked up, or are people just saying, I'm mad because I'm mad and I've been trapped inside for 11 months and I'm pissed off at everything?
I don't think people like the idea of something that didn't bother them being changed, because it's always been there. Why are you changing it? It didn't bother me. But at the same time, it bothered someone. They changed it. Why not? Who cares what it's called?
I thought you were going to care, Mark.
You thought I would care?
I put this on and I said, Mark is going to be beside himself.
I don't care.
This is first they moved Matlock off of the cable. And now
pretty upsetting. That's pretty upsetting.
It's
Matlock. I can't find Dr. Quinn anywhere. Diagnosis Murder.
I set you up.
I can't
got
find
you
that.
there.
Do you know what Diagnosis Murder was actually a spinoff? Do you know?
Of Matlock?
No. That's a good, because Dick Van Dyke had been on Matlock, but
Right.
he's a different character. Diagnosis Murder was a spinoff of what show?
Wings.
Do you know? I'm going to go on the Wayback Machine, because when I tell you this show, you're going to say, holy shit, I forgot about that show. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Jake and the Fat Man.
Wow.
Yeah.
see, I've heard that name. I couldn't tell you that was a TV show.
Yeah, Joe Penny and William Conrad. And then Dr. Mark Sloan, Dick Van Dyke was.
How much
was
TV
William
did you
Conrad's.
watch in the 80s, Mark? Because you go 10 years back before I do on some of this stuff, and I don't know how, because you're only 9 months older.
My grandparents had a heavy hand in raising me. And so I spent a lot of time with my grandma. And then when you're with your grandma, who was born in 26,
Right.
in 86, you're watching Streets of San Francisco, Hawaii Five-0, Rockford Files.
My grandparents watch old war movies, so I was like, there was a lot of he did watch, what was it weird? All Creatures Great and Small. A lot of that, but a lot of like Bridge Over the River Kwai and stuff. I'm like, nah, Just out of that.
My grandmother would watch. My grandfather would just hide in the other room, but my grandmother would watch a lot of soap operas. So there was a time where I probably could have recognized people and said, "Oh yes, this person is from soap opera A or B, or was it the Dances with Wolves or Days of Our Lives and Young and the Restless and General Hospital and all of those shows." I'm aware of their existence, but yeah.
But not the 70s detective shows and 80s and stuff like that?
Not as much.
Wow.
Not as much. I do appreciate them. The Rockford Files I've gone back and watched, and I think they're fantastic.
Now, my wife and I were reminiscing about this, and I think we can all three align on this, is the Roku channel just put the A-Team on, which I
grew up on the A-Team.
Love the A-Team.
A-Team MacGyver.
I show it to my kids. They love it. But what they don't show at the end of the A-Team, my wife and I were talking about this, is all throughout our childhood. My wife's a little older than I, but all throughout our childhoods, A-Team, Murder, She Wrote, there was like 1,000 shows on television. The show would end after the end credits. You would get that thing where you got the writer, Stephen Cannell. He's on a typewriter, and he'd whip the paper out.
Oh, yeah, I know
he's
what
on
you're
the
talking
typewriter,
about.
smoking a pipe, and then da-da-da-da-da.
Probably can't show because he's smoking.
Yeah.
So
It's just why
that's removed.
they don't show that anymore. I mean, just because I'm sure there's a million.
I think that was
other
probably the equivalent of what's the guy now that does is it Big Bang Theory and all those shows. And at the very end, there's a card. I don't know what's on the card, but they show up for a brief second at the end of every show. But yeah, I remember him typing and he whipped the paper off and it would just turn into like some CGI cartoon thing and
flip around. That comes out of nowhere, and I apologize, as that has nothing to do with Aunt Jemima. The Aunt Jemima thing. Why do people care? Someone found there are people who find that offensive, and the company decided to change that. And I frankly think Pearl Mining Company sounds pretty good. I mean, the stuff they make is total shit anyway.
Pearl Milling.
Pearl Milling.
Nobody's going to make you eat mining byproducts. This isn't
Pearl
graphite.
Mining. Pearl Milling Company.
Pearl Milling Company.
But who cares? I mean, I don't know why people are upset about this. I've never heard of anyone
I think that there's
attached to Aunt Jemima.
I've talked about with some other people, how nuance is dead. The fact that you acknowledge that it doesn't bug you, but it offends somebody else, and for a valid reason, that is lost on people. Mm-hmm. That well, this doesn't really bug me, but I live in the Midwest. I'm, white guy. It doesn't bug me, but there's somebody who looks at that probably and is like, how did they get by with that? And so they decided to fix it. Yeah.
And what gets me is, did you see some of the stuff on social media? The people, when this was first discussed, getting rid of this, and then they came up with the history, probably fake, of Aunt Jemima and how she, was this. What? It doesn't matter. In support of this, right. What a great person. It's like, I have a lot of free time on my hands these days with the pandemic and nowhere to go and stuff like that. But I've never thought, gosh, how can I defend Aunt Jemima? How can I've really got to get the word out about this woman.
We're in the middle of the impeachment trial, but we've ignored it. That's like being in the middle of the Trump defense team, trying to.
Yeah.
That sounds like just as bad of a job.
I haven't watched any of that, but I heard it's been spectacular in terms of the defense.
I've been at work. I've been trying to live my life.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of it either.
I don't have time.
Friend said he was getting upset watching it. I'm like, installs that. Don't watch it, but
don't pay attention.
Now, I will tell you. So you thought I'd be upset about this. I will tell you. This is. I think I know where you're coming from, and I think I can better explain it. So I don't care about this, and good for them. And who this is fine because it exists in the now. But Dukes of Hazzard being taken off TV, a show that this was fine from 1979 to 1985. It was fine in that context. Then how can that be bad?
Revisionist history.
Yeah. How is that bad now?
Because we should know better, Mark.
So they take Dukes of Hazzard off. But I can find the A-Team streaming. They're blowing people away with AR-15s. And the people just get like a little scrape on their arm or something. That's okay because there was no Confederate battle flag on a stock car.
Right.
But the A-Team, that was fine then. And in that context, if it is high enough rated and nets a channel like TV Land playing money, how can you take that off? If it's a classic TV network, then you are showing things from the period when they were in and they were fine then. So that means someone smoking in Mayberry or a Confederate flag on a car. You're essentially a channel that is showing history as it was.
You're looking at a window into the time.
Yes. So
that
kind of thing does kind of anger me. Revisionist history, but in the current times,
it's probably exactly the wrong time to use the phrase, but I'll use it anyway. Whitewashing of history, where you're wiping it clean. You're sanitizing it.
You're sanitizing
history. We won't say whitewash. We'll
in
say
a way.
sanitizing.
On the other hand, the DVDs are readily available. And
we'll pick this up, but you're trying to take it out of the mainstream consciousness.
Yes,
it
is an interesting thing. Like
out of the lexicon.
I have Disney Plus. Keep digging up all these old movies for my kids to watch, and it's interesting. Like a Disney movie, you watch it and you're like cringy. Like there's cringy moments, and you're like, but at the same time, like. If my kids ever ask about this, I'll explain it to them, and then we'll move on. But like the whole product isn't going to be thrown out. But it is a strange thing. Where like at a certain point, if you want to get really, really picky,
talking about when they hunted deer in Bambi.
Oh, I won't watch Bambi, and I won't watch Dumbo. That was a horrible movie. It still kind of scars me but. There's some point where you could justify taking everything from before about 1965 and just saying none of this existed because something's in there that's offensive or was at least is in poor taste now that was okay then.
Yeah, but it moves so damn fast, Zach, that things of The Office, which or you couldn't do The Office, portions of The Office now. It would never make the
episode. Listen to Bob and Tom, and there's a huge part of their library they can't play.
Right.
And it's just
the show Community. I think Netflix took off a show, Community, where a character was...
An episode?
Yeah, an episode. They took off one of the episodes where a character was in blackface. But the character was doing... They weren't genuinely doing blackface. Right. They were mocking that idea in doing that and showing how stupid it was.
There's an episode of Mad Men that had blackface that was made in the last 10 years. It is what it is.
30 Rock, they did the same thing. But
there's probably... I look like a child. I have so much pen ink on my hands, by the way, sitting here. There's like a half dozen episodes of The Simpsons that have been pulled from the world because this happens and that happens. And The Simpsons is still an active TV show that's been on since 1990. So it's going on 30
Travis
years.
Hames joking. If you took Blazing Saddles, edited it for TV today, it would be 7 minutes long.
It'd be over. Yeah.
And that's a fantastic movie. And it's poking fun at all of that stuff. And that movie was kind of ahead of its time.
See, the Blazing Saddles thing, I don't agree with that argument because everyone picks that as the movie. I think that movie is one of the safest of all movies because it's mocking that.
It's aware of what it is.
It's totally aware of what it is, and I think it's timeless. And I think you could make that movie now. I think movies where
you better put Dave Chappelle in it.
You'd have to put Dave Chappelle. He would be great.
Dave Chappelle would be fantastic in that.
And his delivery is kind of like, Cleavon Little.
Sure.
Is that his name?
Yeah. Listen, man, you got the deeper pull than I came up with Mark Wills and Ryan Priest.
I think it's Cleavon something or other. He died way too young. He died like in his 50s.
Cleavon Little, American film actor, died in 1992.
And he was 54.
And that was supposed to be... He was not supposed to be in that role.
He was 6 foot tall.
54 or 56?
53.
53. I was close. Anyways, yeah, he was brilliant.
Died of ulcers.
Wow. He was in the movie Fletch Lives. He was really good in that, too.
Toy Soldiers, Alf's Christmas special.
But I think you can. I mean, that was a very
Blazing
self-aware
Saddles.
movie. You could totally do that, but a show that is being sincere in whatever it is. Because the other one I disagree with is The Honeymooners. People say, that you couldn't do that now. That show was awful because it was promoting, the male beating, because he always said, to the moon, Alice. He only said that because he couldn't, because she was the boss. She was the more, she was the one in charge. And all his threats just fell flat. And
they were completely without any teeth.
Yeah, without any teeth whatsoever. She was totally the one in charge, and that show was ahead of its time, not within or behind the times. And so you could pull that. I don't understand how people find that offensive, and I don't understand how people think Blazing Saddles couldn't exist because that movie was totally a mockery of itself.
If you want to be too serious, almost any Mel Brooks movie will offend you wildly because if you let it. But if
I think that
Spaceballs.
No,
Spaceballs.
No, I was going to go for the big one. I was going to go for the Nazi movie.
Oh, which one was? I'm trying to think. I don't know.
The Producers.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I've not seen
the Producers,
that.
isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I have not seen that one. But yeah, all of his are like, you watch it and you kind of go like, but like they're fun. If you just like, you know what, he's
the whole premise
he's
of the
being
movie was
NPC.
it was Gene Wilder, and they were trying to make something so offensive that it would get canceled.
Yeah.
They
were trying to lose money.
The only way they were going to make money is if they made something that was so bad that it was going to lose money. So they made they intentionally made a Hitler, and this is like 10 years after the World War II had ended, or set in that time period. Basically, a Hitler sympathizing Broadway show.
Springtime for Hitler.
Springtime for Hitler was the big. The big
I think
song.
you could do that now because I think his movies
It
were.
did get remade.
Oh, yeah, that's
with,
true.
with
2005
Will Ferrell,
or so.
Will Ferrell played a Nazi, and I think Nicolas Cage and Matthew Broderick were in it. I'm Ron Burgundy.
Oh, I can't remember.
Yeah.
there needs to be some room for that kind of like parody mocking of stuff that brings stuff up that is not, because that's how people kind of, you can acknowledge it, make fun of it, and then people can laugh at those people then at their expense, and then you can move on.
I think what I would look more for is like, and not Blazing. I think Mel Brooks stuff is never going to be touched because he made it in that way. But the things I would look at over time is like A Christmas Story, the end scene there in the Chinese restaurant, stuff like that, where they're sincerely doing something in an innocent way that eventually you find offensive. Do you know what I mean? I think that's the stuff that will someday.
I've never seen this thing called The Christmas Story. Could you explain it to me?
Oh. I detest that movie.
Really? That's the great.
Hate it.
No, that's
I'm
a
a Christmas
wonderful
Vacation
movie.
guy, man.
I love Christmas Vacation.
Really?
Do you know what?
Oh, A Christmas Story.
Oh
is-
man, yeah, because you know what?
Christmas Vacation's okay.
Nothing gets me in the mood more than Christmas in Gary, Indiana, during like, I mean, when was Gary?
During
Not
the
in the
60s.
malaise. Yeah, just a horrible time. And yeah, I do not watch that movie.
All
That's
right.
great. I think it was set in 1939, 1940.
I've got a miniature version of the leg lamp as a night lamp, but that's all I've got out of the movie. So
Oh,
I
that's a
took
great
the most,
movie.
I took the most unacceptable part of that movie, and I'm like, yeah, I'll acknowledge.
I will put that in my house.
I'll put that in my.
That's a great. I think that's far better than Christmas Vacation, and I do like Christmas Vacation, but
Mark has made me work so hard today. I've got multiple tabs open on the computer. I have no producer. I'm doing all my research on the fly here, trying to pull up links. I've done more over here in this show than I ever do. Final topic for the show: Valentine's celebrations. Is this something where you express your love to your spouse, or is this a tremendous cash grab and it's just a day on the calendar? This is where I want to get the reactions from this is three married men.
I will get a card.
Yes.
I will get a small gift, and we will go out to eat. When I see those,
Now, is this the fanciest meal of the year, or is it we're going to the Elks Club?
Before kids, we would go out and have like a nice dinner. Not the fancy. We're just not the super fancy type. But
A place that requires reservations, or you just go?
sometimes just go.
Okay.
And then after kids, I think one year we went to Greeks in Muncie, which is like had nice atmosphere or whatever. And we're like, we're just going to go out and have a nice dinner. Nice.
this is babysitter or as a family.
I think with kids, mostly it's been as a family. Like it's if we can get a sitter, we can get a sitter, but we don't really work too hard at it. When I see the statistics, like the average person spends like $200 on Valentine's Day, I'm like,
Jesus.
I'm like, well, somebody's spending $400 because they're balancing me out. Because I just I get a card, usually flowers and another gift. We don't go crazy because my wife's birthday was like 10 days before Valentine's Day. So I've already done some stuff for her birthday. So yeah, it just kind of rolls in. So yeah, it's not a crazy day for us.
Mark, how do you use Cupid's arrow?
So when were you married?
I got married in 2007.
2007. Okay. So yeah, we will go in order because I got married in 2011. You got married in
2018.
18. So nothing. We encourage our kids to make some sort of art for the other
For their sibling.
for their sibling. We encourage our kids.
Tell your sister how much you love her.
That's why you live near Ohio.
We are homeschooling this year, though, because we don't want our kids to wear, the I can't breathe mask. But we encourage the kids to make something for each of us or for their friends, for neighbors and stuff. But yeah, for each other, no, we don't do anything. Our agreement is just to do nothing. And we might treat ourselves out to maybe some Indian takeout or something like that. But no.
You drive all the way to Spiceland?
I used to, but we have a place in Richmond now that's really good. Golzar's on the east side of Richmond. Highly recommended.
So
they have a great lunch buffet. I don't know if buffets are legal anymore because you could get the plague, but if their lunch buffet, at least prior to the plague, was
I guess
great.
if you have the right sneeze guard or somebody serves it to you, I don't know. I've not been to a buffet since the pandemic started.
Yeah, I
I've not
haven't
moved
either.
back into regular life that much, I guess.
Somebody posted a picture of one that was just open, just normal.
Really?
I think it was in Tennessee. It was just like, Garen Davis posted pictures like, here's a buffet that's just a buffet.
If there's a buffet open, I would go to. Well, I like Chinese buffet. I like the Indian buffet. I mean, just like a regular
Ryan's
Golden Corral.
Golden
No.
Are you that confident that COVID is a hox, Mark? That
I don't think it's a hoax. I'll just take my chances.
That you're using the chocolate fountain at the Golden Corral.
I would use it if I wanted to.
You're going to pick up a piece of pineapple off the buffet.
Yeah.
Dip it in
Sure.
and put it in your mouth.
Prior to coming here, I went to the Harvest Land Co-op in Richmond and dipped the thing right into the popcorn thing and pulled out. I mean, I'm sure other people did too. And $1 for a bag, I don't care. But it's not saying that it's a hoax. It's just saying
there's no free popcorn at the Rural King. That has been discontinued until we get herd immunity. There's none of it. You can't get your popcorn.
If I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. And I was a heavy smoker for years. It could knock me on I don't care. If I get it, I get it. I mean, I'm not going to live in fear. If I want my goddamn popcorn, I'm going to get my goddamn popcorn. I apologize. Much like Diagnosis Murder, this has nothing to do with the topic at hand.
It's after 8 o'clock. You're fine.
Our general rule is that before 8 o'clock. You did drop one at 7:50.
I did.
It is. It's fine.
But no, my wife and I, whether it's birthdays, Christmas, no, we don't. Because why? We have the same checking account.
Right.
What are we going to get
It's
each
not
other?
like you're hiding it from anybody.
Yeah. I mean, the present is either we as a family do something together, or maybe we will treat ourselves to maybe some takeout and a movie at home, but we keep it pretty basic. Which is good. It takes a lot of stress out of it, in particular for me, because I am a horrible gift buyer. I don't know what to get.
How often are the brims going out in a month? Because obviously
going out to eat or something
or takeout. Yeah. How is this once a quarter? Is it once a week? How often are y'all getting your Pizza King and your fried
No
chicken?
Pizza King for us. Once every week or two. Okay. We go out and we get
So
some.
it's pretty average.
Yeah, pretty average.
Pretty
once
regular.
every week, too, we get some takeout or something.
Every
like that.
payday and once every pay cycle, you blow it all on fried chicken.
Blow it all on fried chicken, yeah. But no, we, as far as doing stuff, trying to surprise each other as a couple, trying to flowers and romance and wine and dine, no, that's not our style.
So the Morrell household.
Yeah.
Married in 2018.
Yeah, fairly, no kids.
Much more recent. We're dinks, dual income, no kids.
Recent marriage. Your wife is 19 and you're 46.
Yes, there's the big age gap.
Yeah. So what's it looking like there? Because here's what I think. I think you are super. I think you have plans. I think a limo's pulling up. I think you have rose. I think
You're getting me in so much trouble.
I think you are a very romantic person, and I think whatever you have up your sleeve, you probably don't even want to divulge right now. But I think it's big.
So last year we did not go out to dinner. It's the first time we didn't go out to dinner since we started, as my grandmother would call it, going together. We started going together.
Your grandma knew you were having sex before marriage.
Yeah.
Like you told her about.
Well, no, this is what she used to talk about when she would talk about her. She would say, when I started going together with your grandfather or whatever, we'd go to the barn dances or whatever they would.
They'd have buttermilk.
Yes, they would churn the buttermilk as a farm. No, but I think the first 2 or 3 years we were dating and married, we would go to the Wings, etc. In Greenfield.
Wow.
Because
you didn't go to your Brooks and Dunn Steakhouse or whatever the hell that is here?
Well, she lived in Mooresville. She was a Morgan County girl, and Valentines Day might be on a Tuesday night, so we'd meet somewhere that made sense.
Yeah.
So the first year we went to Wings, etc., because that was the place we went to, and then it became the tradition, so we went again. And then last year, I'm pretty sure Valentine's Day fell on like the day before we were flying to Florida for a cruise. And I think we just agreed to each other, like, we're going on a cruise. We're going to be gone for like 9 days.
That's romantic
probably
enough.
don't need to go out to dinner now because the next 10 meals we have are going to be out anyway. So let's just say that with it. So we are planning on going on Sunday night to the Wings, etc. However,
Where it all began.
in this pandemic, the Greenfield location is temporarily closed. The Muncie location had also been closed, but I drove by today and it says now open. So I don't know what level of service we're going to get, but we're going to try. So we're going to go to Muncie.
Well, there you go.
So that's the plan.
So that's but in addition to that, you got something tucked away, right?
Well, I mean,
heart-shaped box of chocolates.
last year she gave me a card, but it was like $8. So she went to the store and she took a picture of it and then she printed it out at home, and I was
nice.
I was perfectly happy with it.
I like that.
Oh,
Yeah, and I saved it. So now I have the printed version of the card in a drawer somewhere.
And so, what did you do for her?
I have literally no idea. We went on a cruise, Mark. That was enough.
I'm just
we
saying.
went on the last pandemic cruise.
That would be 1,000 times over for me. I just expect more from you.
Yeah.
So this year, though, I mean, aside from the wings, etc., you got something else, right?
I mean,
got something else going on, right?
well, that's just pretty much the Wings.
Just the wings.
Mark's just trying to get you in trouble.
Yeah.
But you got something.
There's something else. There's a flyover. There's like
there's.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, I mean, the
but
hot air
there's-
balloons and the candle making.
there's like a gift or something, right? You got her some sort of little.
Of course, we have the horseback riding on the beach.
Good.
That's coming.
But you
yes.
know, she got you a little gift of
Yeah.
some kind, so you're going to get her something,
I've been
right?
checking the accounts.
Jewelry,
I don't
some kind of
think-
jewelry.
unless she's been stealing money somewhere. I don't.
She's
think
probably
so.
socked away a few bucks
Yeah.
just so you can't keep track of it. And so
Do you wear a lot of jewelry, Mark?
No.
Yeah. No, I don't either. When
I
my
got
wedding
this
ring-
thing. You got
when
one,
I
I
got
think.
my wedding ring, I said I don't want any diamonds. I don't want anything. This is here. Catch this. This is
that
$8 on the Amazon. Oop,
That's
I-
$8?
A little to the left there. Yeah, that's yeah.
Hey, we're about the same size. That's what do they call that material? That's,
Tungsten, maybe.
Tungsten.
I don't know. It's a cutting tool of some sort. That's a stunt ring. That's not the one I got.
There you go. You can have.
I'm married to Mark now.
There you go.
This is white gold.
Hey, this is comfortable.
Yeah, you want one?
That's
you gonna
very
trade?
nice. Tungsten.
I'm gonna have to wear this on my pinky though. But yeah, next Valentine's
like
Day
it.
we'll trade back.
We should.
High risk.
You know, I think that's the first time I've taken that off in a long time.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Did I violate a code?
I think a code has been violated.
I never take mine off either.
Anything for a potty. I take mine every night off.
You take it off every night?
Every night when I go to bed. I take my watch off. My all of it comes out.
I'm not a
And it
jewelry
sits
man,
next door.
but I tell you what I want. For my right hand, I want one of those things you used to see old men wear that was like the ring that had like I don't know what you want to say, kind of blue and red sort of, what do you call those
seal?
kind of- like a seal?
You
Yeah,
need to join a
something like
club,
that.
but you need to be a mason or something.
I don't know what you call those rings, but you'd see, I'd like to find
class
one of
ring?
those. Not like a class ring, but I don't know what you call them, but they were like kind of silver like rings, and on the top would be some sort of turquoise, weird kind of pattern of some kind.
Yeah, I don't wear any
I
jewelry,
don't know.
so I have a wedding ring. That's it.
Keep my eye out for something like that. I think
You know
I
what they
could rock
never
that.
warned me about when becoming a married man is that you're going to have a permanent chafing underneath your wedding ring.
Really?
Yeah. You don't have that? In my hand, I have this permanent knot that occurred
I don't have that
on my
I don't
finger.
think.
And maybe it's because I just
Must
have
be
such a big ring. But
That's a big ring.
Yeah, it is. Well, I'm a big guy, so I got a ring that matches.
Christy Avery
think
says
I
it's
just
a
mean the-
signet ring.
Is that what that's called?
A signet ring. We're going to
Signet
Google
ring.
that.
Yeah,
as
we have to
we're-
Google that. Now, I think just the thickness of the ring, and you have some definitive
yeah.
ridges on yours, so I think that
Mine's
might
like
cause some
square on the
discomfort.
outside, but mine's like a square ring. It's got points, and then it's rounded on the inside. Pretty comfortable. I've lost it without knowing I lost
A
it.
signet ring is a gentleman's ring. The signet is traditionally seen as a symbol of family heritage. So there's some sort of a seal or something on it.
Oh,
which is
that
why
what
I
it
said
is.
you need to join a club because you see a
club.
Mason seal on it or something like that. But it's so you can put your coat of arms there. I am the wimp that has not gotten the tattoo, the family crest that my brother got.
Oh,
I
really?
guess I
A
suppose
crest?
I could get it on a signet
Yeah, you
ring,
could get it on
and
a
then I
sig-
could
yeah.
be like, hey, I'm repping.
Yeah.
I'm repping the family.
You should do that.
Maybe Sarah could get me that for Valentine's.
That would be a great Valentine's
be-
gift. You should.
that would
And
definitely
likewise,
be-
you should get her a tattoo.
I'll get her a tramp stamp. It'll be
Yeah,
the Morrell
I
family
think
right
that
there.
I think that would be wonderful.
Morrell family crest with some tribals off to the side. There you go.
It would just
That
totally.
is a perfect conclusion to the Valentine's Day segment.
warms the cockles of my heart.
Mark Brim, thank you for joining us.
It's been a pleasure to be here. It has been a pleasure to wear clothes past 5 p.m.
What? How can people follow you? How can they follow? How do they look you up on your phone that has to be plugged in to exist?
Yes.
What are your where do we find your current?
What
content?
am I plugging?
Yeah, you're going to be vlogging. You may be building a channel so that you can support a future lifestyle.
Maybe
follow Mark Brim on the YouTubes.
I tried making some videos just for fun.
Yeah,
a couple years ago, and then I realized that there is absolutely nothing about my life that is the least bit interesting.
That is not true at all. If you would let me just take you for a weekend and take you to places and you vlog it and and it's just Mark out of water everywhere.
Just out.
I want to
pretty much wherever I am.
I want to take you to racetracks. I want to take you to the grocery store. I want to take you just to Rural King. And I want a camera crew. We'll have Zach and somebody else hold cameras, and we're just gonna hang out with Mark and see what happens. And then the hardest part of it all is the video editing. So I'm going to leave that to you.
Okay,
but I will participate and I will bring the color to bring out. I'll be your straight man.
Yeah,
and then you can be the wackadoodle.
And I could be the wackadoodle. Wow.
So where is your channel on YouTube? How do they follow you on the YouTube?
I haven't done anything on YouTube in a long
time. You've
got
great videos out there. You've got the one where you changed your oil. You've got the one where you did the square hard body meetup.
Hard body. Yes, the hard body.
There's the
hard body meetup.
Mark's hard bodies.
Wow. That's not on YouTube, though. It's a different channel.
Wow. You got to sign in for that.
It's more like Mark's rusted bodies.
Yeah.
And then you've got the repair videos.
I can't. And that was the other thing is I can't repair anything.
I know, but it's great because you give instructions on things that don't work.
I have no clue what I'm doing.
Right.
Yeah.
You fixed the leak that one time, and then I think
I couldn't figure that out. I took it down.
I think you used a pool noodle.
I used a pool noodle to,
Right. This is the great content, and you don't realize how good it is, Mark.
I have a video. I'm not trying to brag here because I know you're on episode 194. I had a video that broke about 900 views. Where I met John Schneider.
Yes.
That was my biggest hit. That was my biggest hit.
Tell me. But you vlogged it?
Because I was here the day before.
And then you were like, oh yeah, I look and son of a bitch. You were in Rushville at 94.3, the hot wife,
hometown country.
That's where Vice President Mike Pence started in radio. Was in that building.
Yeah,
and you went down. You were here, and then you didn't mention it at all.
I didn't want to jinx it. This was a big moment, and I thought, what if I say this and then I get a flat tire, or he gets a flat tire? Or anything. I didn't want to jinx this critical moment in my life.
So you, what's your channel? How do they subscribe?
It's just Mark Brim.
So go to YouTube and search for Mark Brim.
There's nothing.
It's not nothing. You make it sound like so little.
It's pretty weak. And then there's not much to it. I think really it's you we need to follow. You are a content creator. You are an influencer.
I am an influencer, but I like the audio. The video, we talked about this in the Patreon.
You're doing video right now.
I know, but you watched me sit here and make Zach do it. Zach did every bit of it. Yeah. I don't touch it because it's so damn much work.
You need to look up Mark Brim on YouTube just because his profile picture is majestic and amazing. He's looking off into the distance. It looks like he might have like rose-colored glasses on.
You are so photogenic, Mark. I don't ever give yourself enough credit. When you have the Joe Biden glasses on and you're looking over your steering wheel, it's just you're all that Wayne County could hope for.
Yeah, who doesn't want to miss the lunch break oil change challenge? You can go visit Elder Bierman. This is a good stuff, Mark.
It's excellent. You don't give yourself enough credit.
I gave up. You're
nothing. Giving us a legacy, and I appreciate it.
I got nothing. I know.
I'm going to share a link in the video.
You are a content creator. You have a proud library to look back on, and I think you should also channel this into like a daily YouTube video that is just your thoughts for the day.
For the day. Yes.
Just your thoughts for the day. And you have a proud library to look back.
The depressing thoughts of a salesman.
Yeah, somebody told me yesterday, like, you need to do a car podcast about Newcastle. I was like, yeah. Just solid 4 episodes. I was like, that's a real narrow window. I'm like, I can talk cars all day, but in Newcastle, I'm like, I got like 3 or 4 people I could get, but I'm not sure one of them doesn't live in town anymore. Now we're
still trying to figure out who has the Maserati in town. So if you know who drives the Maserati in Newcastle, I
know where they work.
It's here. I see it around town all the time. Jeremiah at BossHog of Liberty.com. Thank you, Mark Brim, for joining us.
Yeah.
Zachary Burcham. What are we plugging today, my man?
I don't know what I'm going to plug. I knew one thing I was asked to talk about because I was not here last week because it was my wife's birthday. The city council meeting, I was at the city council meeting. There's some police action stuff. The Humvee goes faster than 35 miles an hour. That was immediately struck down kind of in the meeting.
We had this whole discussion on the show without you. You called in because your wife turned 25.
Yep.
And you said that we had some factual inaccuracies
in
the collection of data because they record. Mark, when you came into town, it's going forward. They want to record your license plate number.
Yeah, we're gonna get some license plate readers in town.
Really? Why?
Because there are murderers from Indianapolis that drive to town all the time. They can find them.
40. It's either 40 or 400,000 license plates a day, something like that. Some crazy amount. My understanding was because I heard that and I was like, ooh, okay, that's kind of a slippery slope. My understanding with them is that they have to have a plate first, put it into the system, and then the camera will catch said plate and say, hey, this plate that you've already told us is a problem has just passed by. I don't think it's going to be able to.
If it's collecting every license plate that drives by all day and
tracking
says, hey,
it,
here's
and
your report of
around.
who doesn't have an address from Henry County, so go hassle them.
Yeah, there was a comment in the meeting about Marion County, and I don't know if that was if stolen cars were popping up in Henry County. I haven't heard that, but there's some questions that could be asked of the chief and the assistant chief. But it seemed like a big thing would be like, oh, so-and-so just kidnapped a kid. This is what their vehicle looks like. Because they even mentioned being able to put descriptions, like vehicle descriptions, and might be able to pull that out. Could say, oh, we're looking for a dark-colored Suburban or something like that. Then it might be able to do that. But I think it was supposed to be, like they called it a hot list first, and they'll pull it. But we'll see. That was one of those things I was like, that's a little bit concerning. Anything that's just there was a show that I watched that was for a while that was about a computer that just could track all the cameras and hooked onto all the cameras. I can't remember what it was, and it would just be like they could use this computer to just follow a car all the way across town. I don't think we really are quite there yet. But other than that, L&K for all your beef.
Check out L&K Produced.
Yeah.
Final thoughts from me. Chase Payton promises to join us next week. I'm looking forward to some Chase Payton. It's been a long time.
I forgot what he looks like.
Yeah, he says he'll be joining us next week, and then next Thursday, I'm on vacation the next day. It's Guffey's bachelor party. I'm going to pin him down, maybe give him a swirly or two, and find out if he's ever coming back to the podcast, or if we need to assign Guffey's parking spot to Zach, and see what's happening. Vaccine is coming. The state announced this week that 60 and over is next, so we're right around the corner to dropping it from 65 to 60. So if you so choose, we'll be good to go. And we want to say thank you to co-host Dakota Davis, who's out being a hero this week. I talked to him on Monday, and he said he had already done 15 hours of overtime 2 days into the week. So that's the reason he's out here. Cold weather. Dakota has to make sure that we have electricity. So that's where he's at. He misses y'all, and I'm hoping we have him back next Thursday. We'll see y'all then.
Thank you for listening to the Boss Hog of Liberty, which is part of the We Are Libertarians Network. I am Chris Spangle, and I am the founder of this network, and I invite you to listen to all of our shows, which you can find at WeAreLibertarians.com or by searching for these in your podcatcher. The flagship show is the We Are Libertarians podcast, where we apply libertarian principles to current events. The Brian Nichols Show is a conversation amongst Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, Independents, as they talk about what is happening in the news. And we have many other podcasts like The Chris Spangle Show, Upward, The Cost, Raw Audio Politics, Miranda's World, and Tad Talk, which is quite a ride. So check all of these out. Go to WeAreLibertarians.com and you can check out all of our great podcasts. Thanks for listening. Thank you for listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Get our other shows at WeAreLibertarians.com. We Are Libertarians Plus members enjoy many benefits like exclusive bonus shows like Build the Wall and Ideological Origins, lifetime access to my exclusive private newsletter at chrisspangle.com, early release of episodes with commercial-free shows, and a full feed of the show with 700 more episodes than you can find in the public feed. You'll also get merch and the opportunity to be a guest on the show. Most importantly, Wall Plus members support a new generation of opinion journalists by bringing an independent libertarian perspective to the news. Enjoy these benefits immediately by visiting joinwallplus.com. In the span of 2 years, podcast advertising has become a billion-dollar industry. Why? Changes to social media and search engines aren't getting the same results as they used to. And let's be honest, why would anyone want to financially support them? Plus, the loyal audiences of audio brands have a better return on investment. Need more convincing on that? Look up Edison Research's Infinite Dial. As the longest-running libertarian network, the audience of the We Are Libertarians podcast network have been our partners in growth for almost a decade. We are looking for advertisers that will enhance the lives of our listeners, and we have only 6 slots available for companies that are looking to grow with us. Volume matters in advertising, and no other libertarian brand can offer you over 40 episodes across 10 shows a month while reaching tens of thousands of people for one easy monthly payment. It is simple. Email me now, Chris Spangle, at chrisspangle.com, and let us start supporting your business as you support ours.